Denosa.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to open public speaking portion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Trujillo, seconded by Mr. Pereira. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Kennedy.
Aristo.
Yes.
Castilla.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Munn.
Yes.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Denosa.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Citizens may address the board. At this time, the microphones are open for public comment to those who have signed in prior to this session. I shall call individuals to the microphone based on the order of the sign-in. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes in duration. The total time of public comment shall be limited to 60 minutes. No individual is able to yield their time to another individual. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually. The following rules for public participation shall apply. Time limits will be strictly enforced. No personal attacks on individuals. No vulgar or indecent language. A person may address the board no more than once during a single meeting. Speakers should refrain from naming individuals. Comments or questions posed during the public participation will not be debated. As a reminder, this is a meeting of the board in public, not a meeting of the public. At this time, I close the public comment portion of this meeting. Pardon me. I'd like to call to the microphone Jose Rodriguez at 618 Jackson Ave.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Again, I'm Jose Rodriguez, and Trujillo, thank you for making that motion and allowing us to speak before it got too late. I just want to speak about two things tonight. The first one is on Friday, sadly, I attended a vigil for a young gentleman named Anthony Holmes Jr., who was tragically gunned down in the corner of 3rd and Pine here in Elizabeth in the 1st Ward. And while I did not know the gentleman, and he had actually moved out of Elizabeth, he actually came back to take care of his sick grandmother. I went for many reasons, but when I went there, I saw the pain, obviously, of the family, many members of my community, of our community, who tragically saw an 18-year-old lose his life. The suspects haven't been caught, but they are pretty sure that they are, of secondary aged students. While I was at the vigil, I had met many people there, lots of parents who actually have lost children here in Elizabeth and in surrounding areas. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Anthony Holmes, along with other students, not just in our community, but especially in our community, have lots of hopes, dreams, desires, and we know we have a crime problem here in Elizabeth. It could be a gang issue, in general, it's just a crime issue. Now, in that community, there's a higher rate of crime than in any other community here in Elizabeth. And then later on that night, I looked, and we have 2 community schools there, school number 1 and school number 28, which New Jersey last year have found that are high priority schools, which means that a subgroup, the African American subgroup in those 2 schools, have been found to score exceptionally lower than any other subgroup in those 2 schools. And again, I know I've commented before that bad schools don't make bad communities. I truly believe that bad communities make, I take that back. That bad communities don't make bad schools. It's really bad schools that make these bad communities. The other thing I also wanted to talk about is also that our five out of our 6 high schools, again determined by the Department of Education, you can find these on the website, 5 of them, which are Elizabeth High School, Upper Academy, Dwyer Academy, Halsey, Jefferson, and Edison, have lower than 75% graduation rate in 2011. Okay, it's something that we definitely need to fix. And I know it's a pet peeve of mine, and I've constantly come up here and spoken about that issue. The last issue is one that I see in lots of banners across the city. It's about the Elizabeth High School still being the #2 high school in the state by rankings of the U.S. News, which U.S. News has their ranking.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you for your comments.
That's it. Time's up.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Rodriguez, if I may, would you indulge me? I mean, you know, it's been an interesting ride since you've been coming to the board meetings. You come up with all these statistics. I think it's great that you do that. And you know, let me start by saying, you know, you and I haven't seen eye to eye on a lot of these issues, and that's okay. I mean, you have your opinion, I have mine. We have to respect each other. At the end of the day, you feel the way you feel, and you have a right to do that. And if anybody here really supports your opinion to have an opinion, or your right to have an opinion, rather, it's me, because I really believe that that's the great thing about this country, that even when we're wrong, we have a right to say what we want to say. Having said that, you know, sometimes when there's a candidate for the office of the Elizabeth Board of Ed, I have to question motives and wonder why they want to run. What drives them to want to run? And I say this not only as someone who sits on this board and serves this community, but somebody who has children in the schools and has a lot invested. I've invested a lot of my time here. I've sacrificed away from my family, and that's what many of the board members do here. It's really an honorable position. So, and I do it with a lot of passion. So, I always have that question. One of our biggest critics is Senator Redmond Lesniak. You know Senator Lesniak, and I believe he supported you in the past. You ran last time, and you were unsuccessful last year. But I believe the senator supports you. Am I correct in saying that?
Along with many others, correct? Along with many others,
I'm sure, yes. But Senator Lesniak is a strong critic of this board, and he doesn't share a lot of the same views we have. So when someone like that supports you, I'm cautious. In fact, I believe he even had a fundraiser at his house for you. Am I correct in saying that?
No, not correct.
Okay. He's never supported you financially? Like a campaign?
Along with many others.
Okay, but he has. Okay. And he's probably one of the bigger supporters you have. Would you say he's the biggest supporter you have?
No.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm just wondering. But, the senator, along with our mayor, are big critics of everything we do here. Despite all the success we have, they've demonstrated an inability to want to recognize that, only because it's convenient to them. That's what I feel. I don't know where you stand with the senator. Is this campaign of yours and your running mates something that he's going to fund again? Because it's my understanding he just recently had another fundraiser for an organization that he uses to run candidates through. Are you going to be part of that, or you're independent from that?
Yeah, me and my candidates are independent of that. We do what we think is right. And believe me, as a teacher, my union and others have had many issues also with Mr. Lesniak. So it behooves me to separate myself from those people that you like to say. But like I said, I've had many support from many people that dislike what the Elizabeth Board of Education does, and I will take their support.
You'll take their support. You'll take their money as well.
If people are willing to give to my campaign, sure.
Okay. I mean, they have in the past.
Correct. Sure.
They have. So they, you know, let's be honest with each other, right? I mean, it's all public record. You've been a candidate that has run with the support of Senator Lesniak and the funding of Senator Lesniak.
And others, correct.
Okay, but at the end of the day, that's the truth, right? I'm not making anything up. I'm not accusing you of...
No, but it's not the whole truth. So if you
Okay, no, you want to elaborate? What's the whole truth? I mean, so just so I'm clear.
Like I said, many people in this community have supported me.
Okay.
And you know, you can look that up.
Yeah, if we put a percentage on the amount of money that your campaign received from Senator Lesniak opposed to the rest of all this many people, would you say it's the majority of the money?
On September 13th at the next meeting, if you allow me longer than 3 minutes, I will let you know, yes.
You don't want to answer the question, or you don't know?
I don't have those numbers, sir.
Oh, you don't have them?
No. But
Well, listen, if someone contributed $50,000 to my campaign, I would know who they are.
I'm sure you do.
I would know. I would definitely know. I'm sure. If there's someone out there that wants to fund me that way, I'd be happy to maybe perhaps a higher office.
We didn't even get close to that amount when we ran.
What's that?
I said we didn't even get close to that amount when we ran, sir.
No, okay. I don't have the numbers either, but I'm aware that, and we get back to the point. The fact is that your candidacy is supported by Senator Raymond Lesniak, who is a self-proclaimed power broker in the state of New Jersey, who going forward has tried to do everything, who has vowed to destroy this Elizabeth Board of Education. So that concerns me when you take a support. Are you willing to distance yourself from Senator Raymond Lesniak and Chris Bowich and away from their stance on the Board of Education, or are you standing with them?
Sir, I will give, like I told everyone, I give my platform. And those who want to support what I'm about will support what I'm about. And that everyone, as you know, I'm sure you're supported by Mr. Fajardo and his other people.
I'm proudly supported by Mr. Fajardo, absolutely, yes.
Correct. So they know what I'm about. If they want to support me, then they support me. By their support does not mean ownership, and if that's what you're trying to get at. They will not pull my strings, but they will not.
No, what I'm trying to get here, Mr. Rodriguez, what I'm trying to get to here is to understand your motive. Again, why do you want to run? Do you want to run because, you know, we see the history, right? Your brother ran for city council, right? He was supported by Raymond Lesniak and Chris Bowich. And now you're running for the second time with the support of Raymond Lesniak and Chris Bowich. These are career politicians who've been in politics for over 30 years. I can't expect them to continue to raise money for you and not expect you to do their bidding. Are you naive? Do you feel that...
Well, maybe Mr. Fajardo has that kind of control over you, but they don't have that over me. The reason why I'm running, and I'll let you know, the reason why I'm sick of the nepotism, the jobs that go to people who don't deserve them, the people, the good teachers that are broken spiritually, the teachers who are kicked out, the amount of money that goes into the lawsuits when you kick them out, and it's great. You just give them the money and leave because it's not your money.
I'm glad you bring up that issue.
I'm responding to you.
I'm glad you bring up that issue when you say lawsuits.
May I respond?
Because you know that Senator Raymond Lesniak has made a living doing business with thousands of school boards, if not millions of dollars with school boards annually. Do you know that?
May I respond to what you said? Can I finish?
Yes.
Thank you. So, I'm sick of those issues. I'm sick that there is a community of haves and have-nots. That if some people are so afraid if they don't pay into the system, their kids won't go to good schools.
You have proof of this?
Do you know that you have 18 family schools?
You bring statistics. You bring statistics.
Before Governor Christie,
those are allegations, sir.
Before Governor Christie got a waiver, right? Got a waiver for the No Child Left Behind. Before that happened, there was 18 failing schools. That is 1 out of every 3 schools in this city was failing. Now, the cream of the cream, our best students are one.
What are you proposing?
They can be
to fix it? Here's your chance. What is your proposal to fix failing schools? What would Commissioner Rodriguez offer the citizens of Elizabeth?
First thing, the schools that are dilapidated, the trailers that the students have to go to. You don't think if you had to go to
How would you pay for that, sir? You got to pay for it.
Can I finish? Let me speak. Sure. You know what I would do? I wouldn't pay Justice Stein over $500,000 to give a propaganda message. I would keep that. Okay, there's almost $1 million right there.
Okay.
$500,000 to him, and God knows how much else to his law firm, and so on and so forth. Okay. But what I would do to fix these family schools is first I would instill pride. All those schools that are dilapidated, run down, you know what? I'd fix them. If we can't fix them right away, you know what I would do? Wait, you know what I would do right away?
You see, you're a bit naive in the way this works.
No,
the state has a lot to say on where you spend the money. I don't think you're aware of that.
Let me finish. If we don't have the money right away, George Washington, school number 1, you know what I would do? I would move that entire school over to school number 28. Right away.
The whole school?
Right away. Correct.
The whole school?
Gifted and talented schools. The children that are motivated to learn.
The whole school?
Great teachers. I would take
that is just ridiculous.
Vice President Donoso, I'm sorry.
That is just ridiculous. You're going to move 1,200 kids into an existing building with another 1,100 kids? How does that improve education? The teachers that are here are laughing at you.
Mr. Trujillo, Mr. Rodriguez, we could debate this on a trail and unprecedented, but we thank you for your time. Mr. Trujillo, thank you for your comments.
Mr. Donoso, I just would like to make a comment, and I think that my colleague, Mr. Trujillo, is just trying to make a point, and it's not trying to turn this into a political thing. We tend to focus on our children in Elizabeth, and that's where we need to stay focused. And we just want it to be understood that, you know, we're not going to try to turn this into a political fight. We really are here to do what's right for the children of Elizabeth. It's a lot of work. That work comes into what we do here. And it's amazing how everyone on the outside seems to think that they have the answers, and so they sit in this seat. And they don't really understand what goes on behind the scenes and how hard this board and the staff work to make sure that we do what's right for the children. There are a lot of positive things going on, and we don't focus on all that negativity that other politicians are putting out there against this district, when we are doing so many positive things, and we need to just stay focused on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. Thank you, Ms. Munn. I would also like to express the fact that I echo Mr. Trujillo's sentiments and Ms. Munn's. I, as a father of 2 in this district, also am a little concerned about the comments that Mr. Rodriguez makes, the perception that he might have an influence on other people who aren't really quite in, haven't lived through this system or lived in a city even for the last 35, 40 years. I'm proud to be a member of this board. I have options to move my kids out of the city, move myself out of the city, but I'm hanging in here because I've seen the changes under the leadership of Superintendent Munoz and the cohesiveness of this board. You might think this is all hunky-dory up here, but it's not. We do a lot of infighting in private, but at the end of the day, we all have one thing in common, and that's the agenda of the children. We've done a great job in the last 5, 6, 7 years building schools. It's not always easy because we depend on the state. We're just stewards of that money, and a lot of interests that have gone on and continue. However, there have been changes of heart in this district. Those tenured, you could call them administrators, teachers, bureaucrats, who really don't have to support us, have supported us. And that's just a fine sign of what we've been doing as a board under the leadership of Superintendent Munoz. So I too would like to reflect on Mr. Trujillo's comments and Ms. Munn's comments. I'd also like to call up now Margie Echevarria, 123 Westfield Avenue. Please step up to the mic.
Hello. No, nothing. Okay, I like how you guys really say how you are proud people of living in Elizabeth. I was born and raised in Elizabeth. My first meeting to of this board, I rocked my Elizabeth High School EHS jacket. And what I saw my first meeting was BS, to be honest. It was all politics. If this is supposedly a meeting of the board and the public, not a meeting of the public, then what are you doing for 2 hours in private? Okay, my daughter is still, okay, she finally got a classification, but with no IEP that is right for her. I called the supervisor to special services like over a week ago. I have yet to hear from her. I go to her office, she's not around. Well, how do you get past, I'm still looking for Orton Gillingham. I was already told by special services that I could get a neuropsychologist, neuropsychiatrist, somebody to evaluate my child as well. She is going into the 7th grade with between a 2.6 to a 5.1 level. So if that isn't failing our children, you tell me what is. And I don't, there's just so much going on. I mean, I would like to know what are the qualifications to be on the board. Can somebody let me know? Like, I don't know how is it when I do call for the superintendent, I get Annie all the time. I get Annie, but I don't get the superintendent. I don't know what's the problem. Most of the time I always get somebody's secretary. Just like I get Yolanda when I'm calling the director to, special services. How come I don't get, the person I'm looking for? So I could look for some results for my child. Like I said, she's about to go into 7th grade, with some really low scores on her. And I'm still looking for Orton Gillingham. I'm still looking for different things, great oral reading tests. I want a reading specialist. I mean, if I could have, I wish I could have brought her collaborative report. I wish somebody on that board, since I don't know what you were doing, I mean, can somebody go into my daughter's file and read it over, and do something and actually respond back to me instead of saying thank you? Anybody? Okay, thanks.
We've got your name and address here. Make sure the person that would had this give you a phone call and follow up tomorrow, next week. And I know you've been here several times, and I'd certainly like to address your issue. This way I can give you a more concrete answer, but I'd certainly like to address it, and hopefully not at the next meeting, but somewhere in between. Thank you, Mr. Chilbury.
Excuse me, I would like to put it to your attention, and perhaps Mr. Rodriguez could back me up on this if he teaches special ed. There is a procedure that is followed. There's guidelines and time frames from beginning to end. I believe probably you may have a little bit of more issue because this is the summertime and a lot of people may be out. But the law calls for a policy. It's 90 days from beginning to end. And perhaps Mr. Rodriguez could explain you what I tried to explain you, but I'll be more than happy to go over with you. I don't want you to feel that they were putting you off or anything like that, because every child is special to us here, especially when you're facing different issues.
I understand that, but it's just, I've been fighting this fight with my daughter since the 2nd grade. It happened to be her 2nd grade teacher at this meeting, okay, just July 30th, just last month. And she said that my daughter was more outgoing years ago than she is now. Well, to be honest, if she has been struggling her whole educational life, where do you think she is going to be at?
Well, there is help. We can't fix what happened in the past, but you as a parent have the right to question every year why this is not happening, why she's not making progress or anything. So you have the right. So we'll make sure that this is followed through from now on. But I just want you to know that there is a process. If you have any questions, I've been attending the hearings at Trenton with Senator Ruiz, Teresita Ruiz, and Barbara Dornrick. She was there, and she was testifying in regards to special education. Believe me, everything that I heard was
Dorothy McMillan did tell me she would go to the meeting, to the IEP meeting, and she didn't come. She did tell me that she would go, and she didn't come. But I told her as long as she's on Angie's side.
Well, we make sure that somebody will follow through, okay?
I hope so.
Thank you, Mr. Chilbury. Thank you, Mr. Spina. I'd like to call to the microphone. We are Sen Gonzalez, 945 Adams Avenue.
I'm here to address some of the public speaking response time. My name is Riadson Gonzalez. I am a resident of Elizabeth. In previous months, we have given you 314 signatures. Tonight, we have 131 more. I represent the Elizabeth Education Organization Committee, an independent group of parents and interested residents who would like to take our rightful place with you in improving our public schools. The petition process states that persons wishing to speak at a school board meeting may sign up until 7 p.m. Response time be no later than 7:30 p.m. before the business part of the meeting, as many government boards in our area already do. Student performances and award presentations be held at another time. At the beginning of the public response time, you state the rules for our participation. We would like to see these in writing. At every meeting, you state that the school board meeting are not public meetings, but meetings in public. The New Jersey Statute, Title 18A, Subtitle 5, Part 3, Chapter 10 states, all board meetings shall be public. So school board meetings are public. We will be here with more signatures each month until and including October, before the November elections. We will have a candidate tonight. We will ask the candidate their position on this proposed change of policy. The voters will be interested in their position. Some of the comments being made by board members since April about our petition are, many nights are early for public response time. That's not the pattern. If it is early, it's summer. The city council is for the community. We are here for the children. How can you separate the children from our parents and the rest of the taxpayers? We have office hours. When parents come, you are often not there. The Community Involvement Department is available. Mr. Dunn has not been able to answer many of our concerns. Thank you for the board members who have been respectful in listening to this testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I'd like to call up to the microphone George E. Castellans, 745 Thomas Street. Jorge E. Castellans, 745 Thomas Street. Going once, going twice. I'd like to close the public session of this meeting.